Today I'm going to show you how you can create your own Nike monitor. I'll go through all the steps from finding the Nike API to monitoring that API and then notifying of any change by a Discord webhook. This monitor will be released with my open source sneaker monitors that I already have on GitHub, so do check those out. Some of these monitors will work best with a proxy, and lucky for you, this video is sponsored by IPROYAL, who provide an amazing proxy service that I even use myself. With the discount code YASCode, you can get 50% off their Royal residential proxies. I'll come back to this later in the video. Anyway, as always, please do subscribe to see more tech related content. Okay, so first thing is we need to try and find the Nike API. And this is actually fairly simple. First we load the Nike site as I have done on screen, and then we head over to men's shoes. So we click that, men's shoes, and we'll click all shoes. Once it's loaded, we can open up the developer tools. So more tools, developer tools. And then we're going to head over to the network tab. I'm just going to clear this screen here. What we can now do is scroll to the bottom of the Nike site, and what's going to happen is it's going to have to load more shoes, and with that it will send a request for more shoes using an API, and then we can try and grab that. And I know what this looks like, and it looks like this. So this is the Nike API that we want to use, and it's that simple. That's how you get the API. If we preview it, we can see the data that we get. So under data, products, and then products again, there are 24 products that have been loaded. So each time you scroll to the bottom, a new 24 products will be loaded in. Under each product, there's loads of information, including whether it's in stock, and that's what we want to use. Now let's create a function that requests information from this API. So we can just copy this URL here, and I've got a blank Python file here, and we're just going to start using this. We're going to use the request library. If you don't have the request library installed, you need to just install it via pip. So pip install requests. Then we're going to load the API. We're going to do a get request to this URL. I'm just going to change the view, word wrap, URL equals URL. Then we can do print HTML dot text. If I run this, we should just see, well, we should see this. So if I paste it into a browser, we should just see all of this. So if I run it, there you go. It's a JSON document. So because we know it's a JSON document, we can import JSON and then say output equals JSON.loads HTML.text. And similarly, if we look at the keys to get to the products, it's data, then products, and products again. So what we can do is we can just do okay, first let's wrap this in a function. So scrape site. So the reason I do data products is because if you look at the keys, we start with data, then under data there's products, under products there's another products, and within that there's all 24 items. So we want to go through each one just so we can grab all the products that we want. Okay, and that is all we need to pretty much scrape Nike. Something that's very useful when web scraping, but also when running web monitors, are proxies. As such, I've teamed up with IPROYAL to bring you a special coupon code for 50% off their Royal residential proxies. Make sure to try them out before the offer expires. So as you know, successful copying isn't possible without sneaker bots, which are popular than ever. There's a sneaker shop online, there's a bot for it. These bots automate the checkout process and ensure resellers get their hands on as many pairs as possible in the shortest time. However, every sneaker bot needs a proxy to reach its full potential. If you run a sneaker bot without a proxy, each request will come from your IP address and you'll be immediately banned. However, if you use a proxy server, the website sees each process as a separate user, allowing multiple purchases since each user will only be buying one pair of sneakers. Residential proxies come from real devices with real ISP-issued connections. Bots use these proxies to mask their activity and become indistinguishable from other regular shoppers, which helps bypass capture requests. More importantly, by using residential proxies as close as possible to the sneaker website's physical servers, botters can enjoy lower latency and complete purchases faster than everyone else. So I've teamed up with IPROYAL to bring you a special coupon code. Use code YASCODE at checkout to get 50% off their Royal residential proxies. Make sure to use the coupon code now, as the deal will not last for long. The way to monitor a site is actually fairly simple. First, you have to request a site. Then you store all the information of all the available items. Then you make another request, and then within that new request you check whether any items from this new request is available and ping those which were not stored in your previous request. But also at the same time you want to silently get rid of any items that then go out of stock. So imagine you have an in-stock item and then suddenly in your new request you see it's out of stock. You don't want to ping that it's out of stock, but what you want to do is just get rid of it in your in-stock items. So next time if you then scrape again and it comes in stock, it's not in that pile, so then you send a notification, then add it to that pile. That's the basic premise of how a monitor works, and that's what we're going to create right now. So I'm going to make a function called monitor. Actually, I'm going to create a function called comparison. So this is what does the main monitoring. It compares what we have stored with a current request. So where are we going to store this? We're going to store everything in a list, just to keep it simple. So this list will store all the in-stock items. So what part of the item are we going to store? Well, I think the best idea is to store the ID or SKU or some unique identifying information. So let's have a look if there's any identifying information. I'm just going to do this. And if we just look at this first product, this ID, we would expect to be a unique ID for each product. So that's what I'm going to use and store that. So first thing is we want to check if an item is already in our in stock pile. So if in stock, but also if it's in there and it's not available, then you want to get rid of it. So and on the other side, if it's not in our pile but it's in stock, then you want to add it to the pile and also send that notification. So it's pretty much the opposite. What we're also going to do is send a notification. But right now we haven't created a function to do that, but I'm just going to call it Discord webhook, and let's create that function really quickly. Okay, so right now it does nothing. I just said pass, so it just literally does nothing. But we'll fill that in a second. So now let's have a look at what information we can then put into our Discord webhook. I think to keep it simple, we'll have the name, which is the title here. We'll do the price. We'll have an image and maybe the colorway. Let's keep it that simple. So and when you send a Discord webhook, you're essentially sending a bit of JSON, which encapsulates all the information you want the webhook to contain to a particular URL, which is your webhook. So we need to create this JSON object. To do that, I'm creating a dictionary called data, and I'll start filling it in with all the details that we want. Okay, so this is my object I'm going to send. So it'll be all this information will be embedded. a title, a thumbnail with this URL, a price, and the color. The information to how to format this is on the Discord developer documentation, so you can go check that out. So we need to send this, and it will be a post request. So result equals request.post, and we'll have our webhook, which I'm going to specify here, webhook. I'm also going to print the result.status code. And that's all you need to send a webhook. So now we can start filling in the information here. Okay, so now we need to try and find all this information. So let's get the Nike site up again. And so title is simply just title. That's the key. So we can say item is title. Price is price, then current price. So it'll be item is price, then current price. Yep. Color is color description. I'm just going to copy and paste that. And image is, you can choose any of these URLs. I'm just going to say portrait. It's images and then portrait. Okay. And the very last thing we actually need to do is create a loop, because at the end of the day, a monitor needs to keep on doing this, constantly checking and sending requests to see if there's any changes on the website. So let's wrap this in a continuous loop. So let's say while true, so it'll just keep on going. Product equals scrape site, and then for each product in products, because what scrape site will give us is a list of all the products, so we're going to go through each one individually. We're going to say comparison equals product. We'll pass in product comparison as a parameter. So for each product, we'll do this comparison thing, and then we're going to sleep for 5 seconds. So. There's one other thing we need to do, is we need to make sure that when we first run this monitor, we're not bombarded with messages as they're just being stored for the first time. So we need to create a flag that essentially lets us know when we've done the first scrape. So by doing this, we'll let the monitor store all the current in-stock items, and then for all future times the monitor will request a site, we compare the product status with what we already got stored. So we just need to create this flag so we don't get bombarded. So I'm going to call the flag start, and it'll be 1 because this is the first time we're starting. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to pass start into here, and then set start to 0 afterwards. So then I need to add start here, and then say if start equals 0, then send a webhook, otherwise don't. And this will do it for the first scrape, and then all other scrapes start will always equal 0. And that's pretty much it. This is how you create a monitor for Nike. And as you can see, it's around 50 lines of code, if that. So how do we test this? The best way to test whether it's even scraping is if we just set this flag to 0. And let me show you that now. I'm just going to go on Discord and grab a webhook. Okay, so I've got my webhook. I'm going to paste in there, save it, and then let's run this. So for the first time, okay, my mistake, I did not do this. Let's try that one more time. Okay, one other thing that I forgot to mention is we need to make price a string. It just only handles strings essentially. So if I try this again, we should expect a status code of 200. Yeah, I'm just going to quit that now. And in Discord, you can see I've just been bombarded with messages. So that's how, so we can see it's working. We can see it's actually scraping. So just make sure you set this flag to 1, so the first time it doesn't just bombard you with messages. And that's actually the end of the video. If this video helped, please do give it a like, and please do subscribe, as I'll be dropping loads more tech related videos. Also join my Discord server where you can keep up to date with some of the open source projects that we've got going on. Thanks again, and I'll see you in the next video.